Alright, so I feel like that last one went on. I didn't get to finish my three. And I was surprised I had so much to say about that three. Um, I figured I would just continue on with the other three I know. You're definitely a three-wing two. You're definitely erring on the nurturing side. You're definitely an overachiever. Um, right, and with overachieverness comes a little bit of isolation. Maybe you get a little bit extra picky with your partners. Yeah, you're nurturing. I mean, you got a whole uh, you know, you got a whole farm going on over there. You got chickens and dogs, all the wahoo. Um, so you're definitely erring on your nurturing side. So that means for you probably ought to get more into your creative side, which I'm sure that's probably been uh, amplified a bit in this COVID. I imagine getting more creative, creative starts with being open to new ideas, new ways of seeing life. And once that freedom information comes in, the creativity gets stimulated. The feelings of being special, and we all are all special, but this type thinks they're special, and I think they are. Any creative is unique because the openness it allows you to move in ways that others don't really see or understand even, which creates that individualism. Once you're not understood or you feel like you're not understood, it sets you apart from this group because if you're not understood you can't be a part of the group, right? So there's that. Yeah, and I feel like you seem like a more conservative type of three. Like you're definitely, you know, slower moving, but I think more conscious in your movements. You're just slowly moving in this direction and slowly moving in that direction, right? Which is the kind of the inverse of me. Like when I move fast. Like I go like boosh over that way, and I go too far. Like I'm, sprinting there, and when I hit the stop, the point I want to stop, I bust through that wall, and I keep going, and then I'm like, oh shit, like where the fuck am I now? Like I need to cut my way back through these trees and see where was that marker. So yeah. So I could see some benefit there in our interaction. Um, yeah. So, and then I do think I see your eyes moving. I see your mind moving behind your eyes. So I feel like you're a little more self-conscious and aware of what people think of you. So I do think you kind of bland out your ideas like that other side. Because the other person I was talking about, the four, I think was a four-wing three. And you're a three-wing, I think you're a three-wing two, but you still share these same components. Like that's why I think when I just talk about a random person, you all can chime in because every one person is five of these numbers. So if I'm talking about anybody, it's a part of you somewhere. Like any one person I'm talking about is going to be a part of someone else. Maybe a smaller or bigger part, but we can all relate to these people. When we see a movie, there are always multiple people on this dial, this spectrum, and we all relate to them in different ways. So that's why they're so riveting because we can see ourselves in them, and that'll even deter the kind of content you like to watch. I bet you like it's funny like when you look into psychology how much you can tell about a person from not even them, like although that's a huge thing, but the things they surround themselves with, the way their shoes look, the way their room is put together, um, you know, uh, the words they use, the way they text. Is it a long paragraph? Is it short, quick texts? This say something about the person. Um, So I think that's all super interesting. That's why I can glean so much about you motherfuckers without you ever really knowing it. And that's why I feel like this is this big secret I've had my whole life. I don't grade anyone the wrong way. Unless you really pissed me off, and then I'm like on a kill mission. Like I want to eject you from my atmosphere. Yeah. Um, so yeah, blah 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 blah. Yeah, back to that three. I feel like I just said a bunch about you already. So what more is there to say? I don't know too much about you. I do see you trying to open up your four. Yeah, because if you're starting to get into some more metaphysical things that I think you are closed off to. Um, yeah, but it's just like a openness to the world that is unseen. You can't prove these things. All these things I'm talking about, like you can't touch them. Not really. I mean, when I talk about the physical things in this world that represent you, yeah, you can touch those. But you can't prove these things. Like I can't prove anything I'm saying to you. You just have to be open enough to actually like think about it, conceptualize it, like, you know, because there are walls. Like it's so hard for you to see ourselves, and that's partially why I am starting to go on this outward search and like looking at other people and how they relate to me. Like, because if I can break you down, I'm really breaking out down a small part of myself. Like any structure is built. So to understand any structure, you have to be able to take it apart. So, and then if by taking it apart, you learn how to rebuild it. So, so for me to understand the structure, I need to take out every individual piece, pull it out of that wall, figure out what makes this one piece, put it aside, grab another one, and then once I'm done, I have the whole picture. I understand how this system now works. Now I can rebuild it. I can try to use it to create something better. Um, so that's what I'm doing with the mind here. And it has its ups and downs because you're halfway on building this thing, and you're like, I kind of get it now. Like I can rebuild this, and I could use this information for myself and other. Um, but reality, maybe you should finish breaking it down first. But I don't know if life works like that. Maybe you have to go rebuild half, and then go, oh, I can build a little bit over here, and then go back and rebuild some, unbuild more, and then go back and build some more over here. So there might be a bit of that swim action. Um, yeah. Okay, three. What else do I know about you? Yeah, achievement is an odd thing. One more achievement, and especially in the self-empowerment place that life seems to be running toward. It gives a lot of emphasis on achievement, and what is achievement if you don't have others? It doesn't feel like much once you have the bare essentials down, the bare necessities of life. Um, life is really easy if you go from that angle. Like, it's you know to be home, like, if you are forced into homelessness, like, okay, that sucks. Something happened, something went down, that's horrid. But for those that choose homelessness, it seems like a pretty easy existence. Like, just where I live here, you know water is free. You can find water. Food can be free. There's donation centers. The government subsidizes a check, like a welfare check for the homeless. Okay, that's $1,500 a month. All right, you create shelter or you find shelter where it is. Um, which anyone's gone camping. Shelter is not that hard to create, especially in the climate that in which we live. At least in California, it's not that bad. So when I think about it like that, I mean, that means I can get my bare necessities of life in a day. Like I could build and just go out there today. I've thought about this many times actually, because when you take out, you know, y- yeah, this fear intimacy thing. It can be like either I'm going to just say I don't need anyone, or you can go about manipulating people to get what you need. Uh, that fear of being left behind, that fear of abandonment, that fear that no one is going to really understand you, that, you know, um, that your feelings are not important. Those are all fears of intimacy. So we may not let people get close because of those things. Um, so yeah, that's kind of interesting. I forgot how I got over there. Um, yeah, keeping a people away. Hmm. Yeah, and I feel like especially this COVID thing, I feel like that might have built up quite a bit of fear of intimacy in us all, because we all deal with pressure and differently. And I mean, I know some of us are like, oh shit, people are bad. Like everyone sucks. I remember feeling that way even as a kid before all this, that everyone sucks. so, uh, so yeah, that turns into extreme reliance on self. And once you do extreme reliance on self, that means extreme no reliance on others, which then means that you are starving yourself from the approval, no, the acceptance of other, because perhaps your parent did not accept you, or say that your feelings and emotions mattered when you were young. Okay, so and if you're going around in COVID and people are like, your feelings don't matter on this subject, you'd stop saying your feelings on that matter. And that could be like super in the Republican liberal area. Like, the liberals aren't willing to hear the Republicans anymore. Like, they're like, nah, like, you're wrong. When you're not being heard, you then stop relying on the other. These two rely on each other to create communication, to find the actual happy balance in between, because there is a balance here. But if you're not hearing the other is going to start creating uh, self-reliance. They will just do it without you, right? So you're like, oh, I got the right idea over here, but if the Republicans should just start doing everything without you, that's gonna create like a militant state over here. Like they're gonna become strong. That pressure, that anxiety goes to something. So you gotta realize this energy we're all putting out to suppress a group, whatever group that may be, it's gonna come back. That energy goes somewhere. So yeah, you gotta keep that communication open, right? Yeah, and yeah. And what's the other side of the fear of intimacy? It becomes manipulation. You manipulate to get what you want. I would starve. You would manipulate. Deceit, cunning. And these are two sides of love as well, right? I'm fearing love, so I'm starving myself of love. The other would be I have, so that's poverty. And then the other side of love is cunning. The mother and father Eros, the god of love, is cunning and poverty. And those two things make love. So you can go two ways about it. You can starve yourself of love, or you can become cunning with love. Okay? So, and these are both issues. They're problems, right? Um, but by understanding them, I think we can become more than these problems and learn to use them as tools rather than vices.